Hello. It has been a long time since I was here. I hope this is on. I believe it's on. So this is the live streaming where I talk about Sashiko story while doing Sashiko stitching. It's not a tutorial, it's not a lecture, so I'm not gonna answer any technical questions, but I am happy to answer any questions about Sashiko's culture, his stories, and history and such, stuff like that. Oh my gosh, so long to be back for the live streaming in English. As you can tell, a lot of things have changed because I had to move. Yes. I hope that nothing is here. Just a second. It shouldn't be an issue. So the moving is almost done. Moving itself is almost done, but the problem is the maintenance. The not improvement. It's more like a very basic maintenance. Basic but fundamental maintenance for this new house is pretty important. I mean, necessary right now. So that's what I'm doing right now. And I am sacrificing my time to do Sashiko, but until that we can feel comfortable and safe to live here fully, it might be a little more challenging to take sometimes. But since I moved everything like technology-wise, I have my computer here and the camera here. Little by little, I will restart this live streaming. Okay, let's change the camera. And the camera itself is not the one I used to do with. It's much less better quality. Do I say that? It's not as good as before, and I am gonna get the better one soon. It's too heavy to hold it at this moment, so I'm using this camera with microphone. So it's not as good as the previous one, but I believe that it's good enough to show the Sashiko stitching. Oh my, has been a long time to talk to the camera like this. Hello, Paola. Thank you for coming again from the Japanese live streaming, right? Thank you. You must be sleepy at this time. I got a bug bite and it's pretty itchy. Yep. Has been 2 months, so I hope that everybody had nice early summer. It has been very hot here, and then today is extremely cold. I mean, it's not extremely cold, but it's cold. I mean, extremely cold comparing to the previous 2 days. So I don't know what is going on right now in this world. Yes, Sakura. Right? The world has not changed much. Well, I mean, sorry. What, Sakura? No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna pick you up. I opened the door so you can go. Sue, thank you for welcome message. I hope that I can restart doing everything little by little, Instagram live streaming and everything. But yeah, I haven't changed much. I believe I haven't changed much. I hope that you haven't changed much. But the world has changed quite a lot. Has been changing quite a lot, and so is things in Sashiko too, I guess. Thank you for welcoming back. Thank you for welcoming me back. So if you are new here, this is the live streaming. I talk about Sashiko while doing the Sashiko stitching, and I don't teach much here because that can cause a lot of misunderstanding, and I don't want to be in charge of that. But if there are anything that I can talk while doing Sashiko stitching, I'm happy to talk about it. So any questions, any concerns, if that's the case, because so-called Sashiko has become so much different. How was, oh, Tai, hello, thank you, welcome. Thank you for welcoming me back. How was the experience with the 5 days class retreat? It was very good. I believe it was very good experience for me as well. And the biggest difference between 3 days workshop and 5 days retreat is the speed of things moving forward. And I still believe that 3 days workshop is sufficient, like time-wise, long enough to pass down all the information I have, all the technique and all the wisdom. And I believe that it has enough time to practice as well. It's 3 days. Stitching throughout for 3 days is a little, it's crazy by itself. So I was a little worried and I was a little concerned about the 5 days, extra 2 days on what to do. Because as I always say in the 3 days workshop, there's not that many things I can teach after 3 days. So 5 days retreat is more like it's a retreat. It's really the retreat with some new learning. At the same time, that extra 2 days could be a great time for them to apply what they learn into actually their project or their stitching. So there was the moment that I did not talk much, which makes me feel that I'm not doing the job. So I usually keep talking non-stop for 3 days, but for 5 days there were some moments that they focused on what they wanted to do, and nobody said that it was boring, or nobody said that there was less materials to go through. So for that, I think as the one who offered the materials, offered activities, I think it was successful. And if that's the case, I think 5 days is another way to pass down this practice as well. And another good thing about the retreat is that it's not only 9 to 4. So until this retreat, all of the workshop was like 9 to 4, right? And that's how it's supposed to. The workshop start at 9 o'clock, and over lunch, I don't take lunch, but they can go, wherever they want to get a lunch, or they can have their own that lunch, and then another 3 hours afternoon, and after that after 4 o'clock, we don't really see each other. I go back to the place to stay, and they go back to their own place to stay. And as much as I needed some rest, it was kind of nice to see them stitching after that workshop. So the place, the Madeline Island of School of Arts, sorry, Madeline Island School of Arts, they open the classroom 24/7. So they can go to that classroom whenever they want, and then if they wanted to keep stitching after the 4 o'clock, they could. I wouldn't be there. I actually was there, but I don't have to be there, and I wouldn't be there. I wouldn't have to be there, but some people kept stitching until 10 o'clock. And next morning, when I went there in the morning, I do meditation in the morning, and I offered to do it together. It was 7 o'clock, and one morning there was another person stitching in the morning. So that kind of whole package, that's probably the definition of retreat as well, like something to re-energize from the ordinary days. Well, but Sashiko is the ordinary practice, so it's kind of contradicting by itself, but at the same time, because it's not ordinary for them, it was a quite good experience for me, as well as I hope that they enjoyed it. So it may be, and I will try to offer that one more time next year. It's actually on live now. They listed the workshop like yesterday or day before yesterday, so it should be on. Part of teaching is creating the environment for students to learn, feel comfortable, explore, etc. You don't need to be actively teaching and imparting the information the whole time, in my opinion. Yes, and that is very true, and that's something I learned. I don't know, it's something as the kind of teacher's side, as the instructor's side, the worst things I can think of is that they feel boring. If they feel like they have nothing to do, if they feel like they are not learning anything, that's kind of like the worst thing that I can do as the teacher. They invest money to learn something, to do something there, and then if they have to just sit there for nothing, that's I don't think I can take that. So that was my worry. At the same time, as Sue said, it is true that just me being there with the information I passed down itself is a good thing. And then there were 2 people actually who came from the previous workshop, so they do know how to do it. I was very worried about it too. I was very, very worried that when I saw their names on the list, like, ooh, you gonna come? Like, ooh, you took my workshop once, so you probably know everything. You have to laugh with the same joke I say. So I was a little nervous about it, but at the same time, they enjoyed it, which means that they came here to learn as well. Look, they said really nice thing, and there's always something new to learn, and they enjoy the time. So I think it's another approach that I can offer from now on. On top of teaching, though, of course, I will keep teaching, and still the core and essence class is the prerequisite of everything I teach, including the 5 days retreat. 5 days retreat has the first day as the core and essence. So it was a good experience. Is this the back of the front? Oh, sorry, is this the back or the front part of the fabric? I'm just curious because your course you showed us that you can make kasane. Yeah, it's the wrong side. You know, I'm stitching from the wrong side, and I make a lot of kasane here too. I am making a lot of kasane, and it's the wrong side. I mean, this piece probably will not have a right side and wrong side as obvious as the others, but technically speaking, it's a wrong side. Hello, Shinobu-san. You'll probably see something different when you see me stitching on the front side. If it's this type of indigo dyed fabric that I always use, like this, you know, I always use this fabric because it's really easy to work on. It's my go-to fabric. So when you see me working on this fabric, it is almost always, not almost always, I would say always, I am stitching from the wrong side. If it's denim or other kind of sashiko, then it's a different story. I may be working still almost like 90%, 95% I work from the wrong side, which is probably a lot different from other sashiko, so-called. You know, I did not do anything for last 2 months. I mean, the Instagram itself is almost stopped. Not almost, it actually stopped. I hope I can come back soon, but things are going as it goes. It goes somewhere else. Now I think, I don't know who is kind of like leading the trend or leading the story, but it is everywhere. Hello from Taiwan. You moved. You successfully moved. I cannot imagine the moving overseas. I am struggling to move just above 100 miles. And I never want to do this. Oh no, I wasn't supposed to use this thread. Oops. Well, unless it's absolutely necessary, I don't redo it, so let's continue. That's another shenanigans I have. I don't redo it unless it is absolutely necessary. Well, that's why I don't take commission anymore, I guess. But since it's for me, unless there's absolute necessity to do that. Moving was really hard. So it's past tense. It's done. It's gone. It's almost done here too, but well, I don't know. I don't know what makes moving done, but I still have some items in the previous house. It's on sale. It's on listing right now, and it's in the, you know, we are selling the previous house, but I haven't moved everything yet. There are several things left there, so I guess it's, you know, it's still ongoing. But the house we got in this place is smaller. It's smaller, so I have to find a space to work and live, and you know, The best way is to get a studio somewhere, but that's a little bit of above my budget at this moment. One day, one day. Do you have videos on how to draw the design on the fabric? I actually enjoyed a lot part of the measurement and drawing on the shapes. I think I do. On YouTube, I should have several of those. Not many, because I'm not good at it, but what is my new area like? It's more out of nowhere. If that makes sense. I thought I was living in out of nowhere with no culture. I was wrong. The previous place had a culture and it was out of nowhere, but not this much out of nowhere. So what I live right now is a very, very small rural town in central Pennsylvania. And I think I'm the only one Asian in this town besides the Chinese restaurant workers. I mean, the, people in the Chinese restaurant. I haven't seen any Asians outside. And the house outside of the town with a big yard were not available, or it was extremely expensive. So we got a house in the kind of center of the city, more downtown. I think we can call it downtown. So I like it. I really like that people. The previous house didn't have much neighborhood community, but here it's very much the neighborhood community, and I kind of like it for that. But yeah, it's really. This is not a. I hope this is not a bad joke, but it's the one neighbor kind of refer me as Oriental, and I know that he didn't mean anything bad or anything like negative. That's like, he was talking to my wife saying like, where's your Oriental husband? And that word Oriental I haven't heard quite. And I was there. I was not in his vision, in his eyes. I was there and I heard it. But he was not trying to offend anybody, or it's just a word that, it's not updated, I guess. That's probably the word for that. So it is interesting to be here. But so far I like it. Worst news. Worst news is that worst news is that the airport is even further away. That is not okay. There is a small airport, but it doesn't have the flight that I could use. So after all, now I have to drive 2 hours to 3 hours to get a major airport, to get even not a direct flight to Japan. It's another, one-stop flight. But are your supplies shipped from Japan? Yes. To the US, yes. To me, yes. If you're purchasing it, I don't know if my mom has the English website yet, but if you're purchasing from her directly, or if you're living outside of the US, we sometimes make a shipment from Japan, but if the shipping address is within the US, I will make a package, and then that items are, pretty much every items are made in Japan, which means shipped from Japan, and that is not good. It's not good. I don't know. I don't know how. I may need to look into the second career. I like the things I'm doing right now, like handyman job. I'm not a good handyman, but that might be the things like. Well, I hope I don't have to do it, but at this moment, I don't have to do it. But let's see how it's gonna go. Well, I mean, thanks to my wife, she is providing the family. So at this moment, what I have to worry, what I have to be careful, what I have to pay attention is to minimize the expense going out. So if the coming in is slower or narrower until this uncertainty is gone, what I can do is to minimize the flow to go outside. So no studio. No studio. Less mortgage, but no studio at this moment yet. One day, like, it's not good for the economy, but for time being, I think the key to survive, or key to maintain, the key to make it sustainable somehow is to be mindful on the fixed expense. And renting a studio is probably the worst thing I can do right now, especially if I can do everything here. Not comfortable as previous house, but if I can do it. I hope that everybody everybody's life, your life is not that different. On top of the moving, that's not that different at this moment yet, so I don't see the change much, although I see a lot of change over the news. But I think it's gonna hit soon, or slowly. Well, what I do is the same. I do stitch. Once I settle, I will hold the needles. I keep making, I keep enjoying, I keep sharing the stories to pass down this practice, where the Sashiko is just the Sakura. What? Oh, thank you, Paula, again. Yeah, where the Sashiko has become a place for the people to be creative, or people to how can I put this well? It's really commercialized right now. I don't know if this is a good way to put it, but it's not only the non-Japanese though. Japanese is also riding this wave too, but don't you feel like Sashiko has become something to make money with? And there's nothing. Once again, I am not saying that the making money is bad, but it is now officially. It has now officially became the marketing term. So it used to be a little more niche, like very, very small amount of people were actually interested in this practice. But now, by saying this word, it kind of directly, it's really a marketing term. And that kind of twist the message or practice. What do you think about stitching in a way that maximizes storytelling but may fall shorter in strengthening the fabric for practical use? Well, you know my definition for Sashiko, right? So that is perfectly fine, in my understanding. So originally speaking, Sashiko was a stitchery to make fabric stronger. They did not have a choice to replace the fabric when the fabric was, not usable. So they stitched first because they knew that the future of not being able to use the fabric would come. They stitched fabric with a thread to make the fabric stronger. That's kind of very primitive origin of Sashiko. And that's like a few hundred years ago, though. I hope nobody stitched for the that primitive purpose of Sashiko at this age, at this moment. And in the last 200 years, we all changed that practice based on what we need, what we do. And it is us who changed Sashiko. It is somebody else who is making Sashiko into the next level, next phase, next chapter. But to me, it's my definition of what Sashiko is. Sashiko is the practice to, like stitchery, hand stitchery, with a lot of Japanese culture, a lot of Japanese uniqueness, to add the story to the fabric. So, yes, I mean, it's your approach to Sashiko. Well, probably I do not feel comfortable when one use the sandpaper or flat to distress or to damage the fabric on purpose and then mend it and then call borrow. That would be my line there. But besides that, if the stitchery, according to Tai, the stitching itself may shorter the life of fabric. I wonder what kind of fabric it is first, because stitching may. I don't have much experience of fabric being weaker by stitching. Well, probably silk and cotton thread might be the case of that, but I think for me it is much more important for you to have stories over following the primitive origin, because nobody does stitching for the primitive origin at this moment. Once again, if somebody's doing that for a reason, I think they should look for the support first. What are the original designs and patterns that are the ones your culture has used for many years? There are a lot online, but I would love to learn the traditional patterns. The pattern-wise, of course, the first primitive original was the lines, just parallel lines. And when they have choice, they used the geometric patterns. And there's so many geometric patterns. So I don't know. I like the Asanoha patterns and the Shippo patterns. That's two my favorite, and that's why, that's always the pattern I stitch. And I believe those are quite original. One of the few patterns that we used as the first stage. At the same time, I don't know exactly which pattern. I don't think there is such a thing as the original, but there are many types of geometric patterns, which is not only for Sashiko but anything else. And so those picturesque patterns, like the koi fish becoming the dragon or geisha, or those are not really those are more like adaptation of Sashiko, and it's more like embroidery, right? It's focusing on how it looks. So those are I wouldn't say those are original, but this, what else? And this, those are all geometric patterns, and they stitched the geometric patterns because they wanted to make fabric stronger. That's the whole purpose of them stitching, with a little bit of sense of beauty. Not a oops. It's so small here that I have to use the mouse like this. Yeah, I gotta find somewhere else. Not somewhere else. This is just a matter of arranging the space. It's just a matter of arranging the space. Hey. So yeah, my plan for this year is it's quite how can I say, quite interrupted, distorted by the moving. It was not like at the beginning of this year, 2025, we weren't thinking moving, right? I don't think I have mentioned the moving in the beginning of this year. It was probably just the spring. It was like literally March that we decided to move. And here we go. Well, thank God I did not put that much workshop toward the fall. I do have another workshop, but I was planning. I usually plan it like 6 months in advance, so everything is fine for that. But it has been quite challenging summer, and nobody is like, I cannot believe how difficult it is to find somebody to do the job. Like, everybody's so booked and so busy. I mean, I could find somebody who I really need a job for them because I kept bugging them. But those who I don't need help immediately, or who I could ask for the help, it is just difficult to get hold of them. So I think there are a lot of jobs out there. Or, I don't know, people not working? I don't think so, though. People working, but not. So yeah, if I could become like a handy person right now, it's a nice carrier to have, I would say. I really couldn't do hand stitching past 2 months because of moving. Now I finally have time and then space to do Sashiko, but I'm kind of scared that I lost the unshin rhythm. What do you recommend to do? Don't be scared. Don't be scared. It is. I cannot guarantee 100%, but I don't know the one who lost rhythm completely after that much blank. Of course, it's gonna be rusty. It's not gonna be as smooth as you want. It's not gonna be. I'm not saying it's gonna be easy, but completely gone is not. It's not the. It's same as riding a bicycle, or swimming. So once you can get it, you can do. Once you get it, you get it. It's like a lifetime thing. That's why I keep saying like, please take my own, core and essence class, because once you take that, once you get it, it's almost difficult. It's more difficult to uninstall it. So I don't think it's gone. It's like riding a bicycle. Once you can do the riding a bicycle, next time you may need a little help, but you probably will get that. So the first time maybe a little rusty, a little wobbly for that matter. But it's not. It's the. Well, I mean, you can always come to me if you feel like you lost it, but it's not your brain who is stitching, it's your hand, and usually it's your brain who is creating those fears. So should be. I mean, that's not a best answer for that, but don't be afraid is probably what I mean, just start doing it. It's gonna be okay. Worst case scenario, what, do you feel like you didn't get the rhythm? I'll be okay. I did not stitch for 3 years straight. That's probably the longest time I did not stitch. This number may be kind of incorrect because I am not thinking correct. I'm it's nighttime. So, but it's just right back. Ignoring my brain can lead to some interesting result. Yes. The key of Sashiko is to shut down your brain. I mean, not physical brain, but more like consciousness, or not a consciousness. Everything else around it. I'm not saying you should stop breathing. I'm not saying, you shut down everything like a computer. But all the unnecessary thing you do, like judging yourself, worrying about something. I mean, actually, you can worry about something else, but not Sashiko. Forgetting about the result, thinking about something like what to do tomorrow, what did I do wrong today, why is my wife so upset today, that kind of thing. You can think anything you want that is not related to Sashiko. Once you start thinking about stitching, then you won't get a rhythm. Well, I mean, you will get a rhythm, but it's obstacle for the rhythm. My brain is telling me that I'm scared to touch. Don't worry. It's just Sashiko, it's just fabric. Sashiko feels like meditation. Yes, that's one approach. And it is very true that Sashiko has this similar effect of meditation itself. But there's a little risk here. I do not want you to mix the Sashiko and one specific all the meditation. I cannot talk on behalf of all the meditation, but there's a trend of mixing Sashiko and Zen. Don't mix that. Zen and Sashikos are very, very different. They have a similar effect, similar result, and they have somewhere to overlap. But the principle of those two concepts are very, very opposite. So it's kind of difficult to explain. I will try to explain that sometimes later. But just don't mix those two. But it is true that Sashiko can be like a meditation. Yeah, so I mentioned about shutting the brain, but I'm not saying or even implying that your brain should be empty. You don't. Empty brain also does not make Sashiko good too. That's why it's interesting. I want you to get rid of all of the thinking about Sashiko itself, like the patterns. I mean, you have to follow the patterns, or you have to kind of think about it, but not the result, not the stitch size, not like when you stitch, you follow the blueprint. The hand stitch, the hand follow blueprint. At the same time, I want you to occupy your brain with something else. A lot of positive, negative feelings. So anger is good. Joy is like Sashiko with anger is good because it adds the story, right? It adds the story. The story doesn't have to be positive all the time. It can be negative too. But if it's empty, you kind of don't add the story, and that's not what I would like to pass down. So meditation, well, I don't know about meditation, but Zen itself, the goal of the Zen is to empty the brain. Ku is the concept of that. And then you will, the realization that one should get is everything changes in a moment. I'm not monk, so correct me if I'm wrong. But Sashiko exists in the opposite side. So not empty, it's more like opposite of empty. But not about this, about your life, about your days, about your relationship. Anything is fine, just don't empty your brain. You might want to shut down your critical mind. It's crazy to say. I'm suggesting to shut down the critical thinking, which is probably the most important things to survive this world. I'm asking to don't think critically. Let your emotions override the brain. Doesn't sounds good. But yeah, and I do meditation every morning, just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, which is the goal is to empty my brain. So I have a lot of thoughts running through the brain, and especially when I do Sashiko, I always think about something usually not positive. It can be envy, jealous, anger, frustration, you name it. Those are not really healthy to my body. So the goal is the goal of meditation is to empty it first, and then stitching is gonna be like amplifying. Well, probably amplifying it to have those. Well, amplifying is not probably the correct word. I shouldn't make it louder. But that's why I cannot substitute my 15 minutes morning time with stitching. It's not one or another. It's both. So Sashiko can bring the meditation-like result, but it's a little bit risky to define Sashiko as the meditation because, well, the meditation itself is a little too big of the word, so it can be any meditation, but Zen is, well, please don't mix it. It's kind of, nice, catchy word, but there's so many catchy words like wabi-sabi stitching, Japanese, you name it. Those are probably, they don't know what it is. That's why they can mix it so easily. Listening to the band too or 80s music and Sashiko is awesome. Yes. Music is another, yes, recommendation. Just let your brain follow that music and memories and everything that it flows in your brain, not the occupy. Well, I want to occupy your brain with something that you feel comfortable with. Either way, plus or minus. And as the result, your body gets the same result as the meditation too. But approach is different. I hope it makes sense. And I hope I'm not saying something different before this, but I remember you said in your course to use Sashiko to think about your family, and that's really sweet. That happened to me once I started to do it, and then I understood it. Yes, so instead of thinking about the result, instead of thinking about what is the right side of Sashiko stitches, think about something else. But because in this society, we focus on the result. We focus on how it looks. We focus on the outcome. We focus on the achievement. As the result, we kind of forget about the primitive or very basic way to get there. I don't think that, the AI, ChatGPT, will be like a topic in Sashiko to discuss if AI can, replace Sashiko. Sashiko is more basic than those AI. It could have replaced in the Industrial Revolution in like a few hundred years ago. So, and it did actually. It got replaced. So the job of Sashiko is not gonna probably. That's why it's really, really, really difficult to make a living as the Sashiko stitcher, because the job itself is already taken over by the machinery. So AI is not gonna take our job away, because not even job, or take away our Sashiko away. AI is not gonna take our Sashiko away because it is quite personal. It's the joy that we feel. If our brain start feeling joy based on what AI tells us, then that's a different story. But until that happens, like the machine cooking, right? Talking about AI is one way to get me stitching angrily. You don't want to talk about that? So you can, like, angry stitching is not bad at all. It's kind of, it's not, how can I say, the result, if we focus on the result, angry stitching is kind of accurate. I don't know why, but when I'm angry or frustrated, stitches tend to be better from the result, from the result perspective. The robot can take over a lot of things. So, cooking machine, cooking robot will probably take over a lot of, restaurant job or homemade meals. And even before robot or AI, there was a little bit of replacement when those delivery meal was introduced, like Blue Apron and stuff like that. Those are gonna be very, very good support for those who don't like cooking. But for those who like cooking itself is the joy, and therefore it's not going to be substituted by other alternatives. So what we do right now itself is something what we kind of what we are demanding from the desire. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's 10:30, so I gotta finish after this one thread, but I hope it makes sense. Will you be making something from what you're stitching? This will be the small furoshiki. So in November, I will be in Japan for the Sashiko Japan retreat, and we will have a small exhibition. And in that exhibition, we will have quite many small furoshiki displayed, stitched by our friend. This is one of those. I mean, this is going to be one of those. So it is gonna be used as is. It's probably too small to wrap something and hang it somewhere, but big enough to wrap some small boxes, like lunch boxes and stuff like that. So it is the wrapping cloth for those purposes. But before that, we will that. Sorry, the probably internet is not good now. So the edge is hemmed already. So it's ready to use. I'm sorry, the internet is probably. This is another challenge I have here. It's wireless. I used to have the hard cable connected to this computer, so we didn't have much internet issue, but now we're using the wireless. So I gotta think about how to make it better. And this computer is quite old, so how do I bring the how do I bring the cable from downstairs here? Well, until I figure everything out, I apologize for the bad quality, but you know, I started from there. One by one, I will try to improve it. Is it stopped? It's not stopped, right? Okay, I think I will be able to come back next week around the same time. Today I started like 9:30, but I should be able to start at 9 o'clock next time. And after that, 2 weeks from now, I'll be in Maine, state of Maine, so I don't think I will be able to do the live streaming on that week. And then after that, I will do my best to go back to the normal. Well, Instagram, including Instagram, I will go back to the ordinary slowly, one by one. So bear with me. I'm not gone, and I'm not done yet. It will be a little slow, but I will not stop doing it, so. Alright, this is about it for today. I hope you can listen better from this. Changing the distance of the camera. Alright, thank you so much for coming to the live streaming. To see you next week, and please show the finished work. Finished work might take some time, so yes, please come back regularly, so I will be able to share that. Alright, I hope you have a good night. Thank you so much for coming, and see you next week. Bye bye.